Remember when Donkey Kong's redesign was like a fresh thing? And at the time, there was legitimately nothing that could have been worse than Donkey Kong's redesign. That was definitely the most pressing issue at the time in the world.
It seemed like a normal news report until the end.
Because I'm not real.
And actually, with this guy, it was clearly a big issue. All right, in all seriousness, that's one of the funniest videos I've ever seen. I wanted to talk about Donkey Kong's redesign because it was such a roller coaster. And now I feel like the conversation, if you will, is pretty much just gone. Like, I feel like everyone's just kind of accepted that this is Donkey Kong's new design. And what's interesting is that I thought that this journey started with the trailer for the Switch 2 when they showed Mario Kart World, which didn't end up being what I was hoping. But Mario Kart World, at the time, I was very excited for. The biggest thing from that trailer was, depending on how big of a fan you are of whatever it is, for a lot of us, the big standout thing was Donkey Kong in that trailer. He looked quite different. What's interesting is I thought that that's where all of this started, but that's not true. Because when the Mario movie was announced, and we finally saw how Donkey Kong looked, I don't remember exactly how I felt. I'm pretty sure I was not too happy. And then it was just kind of like, well, if it's just for the movie, whatever. I think that was them trying to kind of like ease us into being like, this is what's going to be here. And then we get the Switch 2 trailer. We get the new look of Donkey Kong in that snippet of the Mario Kart trailer. So then it was like, whew. Like, this is how Donkey Kong looks now. And what's interesting is I remember during the time, people were like, you're upset because it's not your Donkey Kong. Like, Donkey Kong looked way different back in the day, and they're kind of going back to their roots. The thing with this, though, is that they used the Rare era Donkey Kong design for so freaking long. I think that conversation I would have been more okay with that if they didn't use the Rare era Donkey Kong design for so freaking long. It was a long time. You got to figure the Donkey Kong Country games came out in the 90s. I believe Donkey Kong Country 1 came out in 94. You go forward all the way till now? Technically the Mario movie, so like a couple years back. That is a long freaking time for someone to be a fan of something, for them to change it as much as they did. I get what people were trying to say, but I just think that design was there for so long that it made a lot of sense that for a lot of us, we were kind of like, what? Like, this isn't the Donkey Kong we know. And then we got the trailer for the brand new, I say this in all my videos, it's still insane that we got the final game announcement for a brand new console was Donkey Kong. Still, that is a moment cemented in history that I am very happy about, because I think everybody, including myself, would have banked that it would have been Mario, like just a new Mario game. I feel like for a lot of us, this is where the design, like, we got won over. We were won over by Donkey Kong Bonanza. The game ended up being really, really good. Just from the trailers, it had a lot of us very, very excited. And it's interesting now because I feel like no one really talks about the redesign, which, I mean, I guess that's just a natural progression of things in general. I mean, after so long, it's like, well, I mean, there's nothing I can do about this, so this is just how it is. But I do wonder, because what's interesting is that, for one, I've said it's interesting multiple times. That's also interesting. But two, they decided to not really tinker too much with Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, and Cranky Kong. And I wonder if that was intentional, because I would argue, now I might get some people that are going to get pretty mad at me for saying this, but I would argue that people end up being more of a fan of what was seemingly, to me, sidekick characters that became main characters with Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, and Cranky Kong. I guess Diddy Kong, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they are main characters, but I think you get my point of that. The game was called Donkey Kong Country. It's supposed to be starring Donkey Kong. He's only playable in one of them. out of the original trilogy. So I feel like there's always been an emphasis on multiple Kongs. Well, for a long time, ever since the Donkey Kong Country games, there's been an emphasis on multiple Kongs because you have Donkey Kong 64, you have all those other Kongs. So there's been emphasis on multiple Kongs. I do wonder if there would have been more backlash if they had changed all of them. Like, I wonder if I would have turned around the way I did if they had a drastic change to all of them. Because my point that I was going to make, where I said that I think some people might get upset with, is I do think that it being Donkey Kong, even though his name's in the title, he's the main star, I feel like for a lot of us, Donkey Kong is not our favorite. Like, we like him, but he's not our favorite. And I feel like sometimes when it comes to selecting Donkey Kong as a playable character, like, let's say in Mario Kart, I feel like sometimes that ends up happening because they just don't have the other Kongs. Like, I would much rather just play as Dixie Kong, but she's not there. Well, Mario Kart World, I play as someone else anyway, but at first I was playing as Donkey Kong, and that's where, if there were other Kongs, I don't think I would be picking Donkey Kong. I think it just ends up being, well, I like Donkey Kong a lot, like the series, and they have Donkey Kong there, so I'll go with Donkey Kong. So I do wonder if the discourse would have been different, and if I would have just still been like annoyed with it, had it been all the Kongs. But I just find all of this really interesting. Again, it was that the 5th time I've said that. Now it's just commonplace. Like, this is it. This is just what Donkey Kong looks like now. And I will say what's really, I was going to say it again. What's fascinating, let's see, that sounds too strong. But what is interesting, when it comes to the renders of Donkey Kong looks ridiculous to me now. And to be fair, I think I always thought sometimes he looked a little ridiculous, but now even more so. That render with him with the thumbs up and with the other like Mario characters, my goodness, I don't think he looks that good. But now with the new design with him with the Mario cast, I think he fits in way more. So overall, I'm happy with the redesign. I think it would have been fine if they didn't do it. I do think they could have like spruced up the renders and stuff. I think they could have made it fine with the older design. Like, I don't think I really believe in the theory that they had to do this to make him more expressive and stuff. I think that it's fine ultimately that they did it. And I think at this point now, I'm just used to it. But I will say I do think that he looks better in Bonanza than he does in Mario Kart World. I think at this point, I'm probably used to it in Mario Kart World now, but I do remember, I don't know, I've pretty much dropped that game. But I do remember him looking a little bit more like, than in Bonanza. I feel like in Bonanza, it really fits. And in Mario Kart World, it was still kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this. But either way, I just wanted to discuss this because it was a really interesting roller coaster to be on. You know, because I'm a huge old school Donkey Kong fan. So I wasn't really sure if I was going to be on board, to be honest. Like, it really, I don't know. I remember when I first saw that Mario Kart trailer, or the Switch 2 initial trailer, and then the Mario Kart trailer within there, I was not happy. Now everything ended up being fine, and I see what's interesting is I would say I like the design, but I am curious if they had just kept the design they had been using and just like maybe spruced it up a little bit. I wonder, I don't know. It's an interesting thing to think about, but overall, it's fine they changed it. And that's where I lend the question off to you guys. Do you like the new design now? Do you still not like it? Did you always like it? Are you just like, I'm going to deal with it, but I'll never like it? Let me know in the comments down below. If you want to stay up to date with my videos, feel free to subscribe. Don't forget to like the video. And if you want to join our Discord, feel free to, well, not feel free because it costs money, but consider becoming a YouTube member. The lowest one is $1.99, I believe, and you get access to the Martian Discord. So if that's something you're interested in, check it out. And until next time, I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.